Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Academia Talks TV. We're back today with another exciting panel discussion. Now, for those of you who are new to the channel, Academia Talks TV is a new YouTube talk show that tries to put a refreshing spotlight on the activities of the academic community. Now, we do this through things like panel discussions, interviews, debates, skits, and much more. Now, today's topic of discussion is students and academic dishonesty. We'll be discussing current issues and the way forward. Now, I'm a host, Dr. Michelle Lafifa. Now, joining me for today's discussion, I have Emanuela Seyramza, who is the president of the Engineering Students Association from the Computer Engineering Department of the Faculty of Engineering. You're welcome, Emanuela.
Thank you.
And then I have Jalene Jackson, who is a course rep also from the Department of Computer Engineering and the Faculty of Engineering. So Jalene, you're welcome to today's discussion.
Thank you.
And last but not least, we have Clinton KK Fusu, who is the GRASAC president, doing an MSc Business Decisions Management course from the graduate school. So Clinton, you're welcome to today's discussion.
Thank you.
All right, now academic dishonesty is a broad term, but for the purposes of today's discussion, we're focusing on things like plagiarism, cheating, collusion, etc. Now, it's been documented that some of the main reasons that students engage in academic dishonesty is because, number one, they have poor time management skills. Number two, there's a pressure on them to perform. Or number three, they have a problem with the course. So these are some of the issues that were identified. So panel members, what do you think? In your opinion, and looking at the examples that I've given, why do you think students engage in academic dishonesty? So I will start with you, Clinton.
So I see academic dishonesty as you not being true to yourself in terms of academics. So anything that you do that makes you lie to the examiner or the lecturer as he not seeing the true reflection of whatever that you have learned.
Yeah.
In terms of that, you were asking about what we do. First and foremost, most of it is about the pressure, the mountain pressure from home, from friends. You want to the edge to succeed at all costs. So it's a do and die situation. So it becomes a dire situation because you have so much pressure and burden to succeed on the program. And also in terms of time management too, that's one major factor. The academic course has just some few weeks, and you always think you have time ahead, and then you realize that sudden thing hits you when you are just at revision week or you are just getting close to exams, and you need to find all the other means to survive, and that alone brings you to the point whereby you have to cross the line. People don't see when they even cross that line because they feel that there are some things they don't even see it as being dishonest, especially when they see that the last thing you were talking about was the course itself being problematic. Some students see that the system itself is not a fair reflection of what the exam should be. For example, a practical student is expecting you to examine him more on practical skills because he knows that he's coming from an HR background. So if you're going to ask him any question, ask him a practical question and he'll be able to write something down on the paper. Right. But when he sees that everything is theory,
it throws him off.
Yes, it throws him off. And then he has to survive on someone else's knowledge or find any other means to survive in the exams. You are not testing his true ability. So you will not even get a reflection of what he has actually learned on the paper. Yes, so I believe a fold of this is what makes students academically dishonest.
Jeremy, what do you think?
Well, I will admit it is hard to fail. At that point when you're in the exam hall, for this one day, I'm feeling
They start panicking.
it's really hard. It's hard to feel. Really, really hard to feel. People think it's easy, but actually it is not. It's really hard to feel. I would look at this from the perspective of the system
Yeah.
affecting both students and lecturers. On the part of lecturers, it's not really favorable, neither it is for students. Of late, we do hear a lot of times where teachers had to go on, or lecturers had to go on strike because of unfavorable conditions or things they're facing in the system. And this makes the academic calendar short or limited. There's a pressure on the academic calendar. When school resumes, no matter where the calendar was supposed to start from,
Yeah.
if weeks or months have passed by, you will still write it.
You still write the exam.
There's no another
Sure.
choice.
There's no around that.
You have to write exams. And here's the case. We have types of students. We have students who are theoretical. It's easy for them to chew and pour or write based on theory from their mind. And some people are practical. They want to feel, they want to hear, they want to see in order to write.
Yeah.
But if they are not getting the opportunity to use their expressions or imaginations to write that exam, then they have to be theoretical. They are being forced to adjust within that short period. And it's not really fair. And look, I can't feel. I'm paying fees.
I can't fail because I'm paying fees. Can you talk a little bit about that, the correlation? So I can't fail and then because I'm paying fees.
We have the privilege of going through the free education system, but still you can't fail. Because one, there's pressure.
Yeah.
And you know that these little maths add up to your final exam.
Yeah.
So if you're not doing well here or now, and you know that exam is going to be difficult, then yes. I have the strategy personally I use that it's easier to remember what you've learned from the first to the middle of the semester as compared to from the beginning to the end. So I always want to make sure that for the mid-semesters or IEs, I have to get high scores. So that in case exams, it doesn't go well. And then I just need a little push to to get a pass or be above average. And if it's not all students that can sit and think of such strategies, there are students that have different circumstances that don't allow them to use such strategies. All they can do is write exams, and then they go their way. I think Ella would touch on that.
Yeah, speaking of the strategies, some people, the workers, university is such that we have different kinds of people. Unlike the SHS where it's like everyone is going to school. I remember one time I was in class and the lecturer said, he told the students that he can't tell him what time to come to class because the student was complaining. He said he doesn't like it when the lecturer comes to class late because he has other things to do. He can't come and sit down. And the lecturer told him that no, you are a morning session student. So you paid to come in the morning. Whatever you have to do, you do it after the day ends or after your morning session is over. So my time for teaching, you have to be around. And these are the morning session students. We have those who are also working full time and then they can only make time for classes in the evening. Now speaking of those ones, I mean they are busy, obviously. It will be difficult to go and work all day and then come to class. The focus is not there. You are tired. And some of them are also married. They have other responsibilities to take care of. So being able to study everything like the morning session students, and even now the morning students are also working. So it's like blending the two is not working. It's not easy. Yes. So the strategies, they just come and write the exams and go away.
So you are aware of your situation before you go in, right? So if you're working at a certain time, you have family commitments, you're aware of that before you go in. Do you think it's, what is the problem? Because if a student is aware that I have a family, I work at this point in time, so maybe I'm going to take the weekend, I'm going to take the day, what makes them then come in and still face the challenges? Because we're talking about time, but then what is...
I think I want to come in on that.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't blame the students entirely, and I wouldn't blame the teachers entirely, and I wouldn't blame management entirely. It's a mixed problem, and it's all about strategic fit. When you are coming and you are choosing a course, you should know whether weekend fits you best, morning fits you best, or evening fits you best. But what happens is that when you come and then you know you're a morning student and then you realize that you have financial crisis and other crisis happening to you at that same time, what do you have to do? You need to squeeze in. Someone closes work at 5 and then he's at Kaswa and he needs to get here at 5 exactly to start a course and then close at 10. So when he comes, his first hour, he's not going to pick anything from the lecture.
That's true.
So how do you save that person's situation? So you see that at the end of the day, the whole thing will boil down to the do and die situation I talk about, that you find any necessary means to survive, because once you're moving from Kaswa at 5 and close at 10, so when he comes, his first hour, he's not going to pick anything from the lecture.
That's true.
So how do you save that person's situation? So you see that at the end of the day, the whole thing will boil down to the do and die situation I talk about, that you find any necessary means to survive, because once you're moving from Kaswa at 5, you will obviously get here by 7, which means your 2 hours is gone. And then you are waiting to close a class at 10. So that 3 hours that you are supposed to learn, you know that you have missed 2 hours already. Plus 1 additional hour when you come in, you are all sweaty, you need to settle down in class. So you are left with almost just a few hours to go. And the teacher needs you to be like the other students. Because he doesn't care about the situation you are in.
Are you sure about that?
Well, the truth is, you are almost having a class of almost 100 people. You don't have time to, you only look at the average. You don't have time to, as long as 10 or 20 people understand, you know that you are doing something. As long as they are answering questions there. So now we've seen that there's a management side of it. There's a student side of it, and there's also a lecturer side of it. The lecturer side of it is when you are being academically dishonest and you expect him to understand that you understand the topic. Someone was telling me that he doesn't understand why they have added French to a business course. So I said that when you go to the east and to the west and to the north side of Ghana, they are all francophones. So if you want to be internationally, at least, you have to do the French. Yes. So he is coming to a course that doesn't even understand why he has to be in a French lecturer's class. If you are teaching a student like this who doesn't have a purpose in the class, it's quite annoying because they don't even see the need for you to be there. So they are just in a hurry for you to go home. Now, what if you have an average of, let's say you are having 100 students and you are having an average of 40 students behaving like this? Then you're facing a major problem. So you realize that the lecturer even has some kind of wanting to just get out of the class because the class is not encouraging him to bring out his best. Some people don't see it as that, but as students, when the lecturer is communicating and there's a flow, people are answering questions, they are getting back. But when you finish talking for a whole 1 hour or 2 hours, and then they tell you they understand, and then you give them an assignment, and they just go and copy it from Google and dump it back in your face. That's another problem. You feel you have taught, and then when you look at the responses coming, an average of it looks good. So when you have to now test them on the real exams, you set high standard of questions because you see that in their previous tests and assignments, they were good. So you increase the skill. Once you increase the skill, you realize that they practically learned nothing. They were just giving you something that is not a true reflection of the average of the class. And so the lecturer also has a problem.